I think it's probably fair to say I wouldn't be doing this job if it weren't for 9/11. 9/11, the Iraq War, and the Bush presidency spurred me into politics at a very young age because I grew up in a place where the full-on mass formation psychosis took hold. For a variety of reasons, it didn't work, but I watched people who I liked and even respected fully cheer on the war in Iraq, buy the Bush administration's lies, well past the time it was obvious that they had all fallen apart. 23 years later, though, it is now shocking even to an extreme cynic like me, the extent to which it is now just openly and publicly acknowledged that everything that we were told about 9/11 in the aftermath of the event was a lie, specifically with respect to the Saudi government and its outright involvement in the plot that killed over 3,000 innocent civilians. In the span of a few months now, absolutely shocking new information has come to light that reveals two things. One, the extent of the Saudi connection. It's as deep as the cynics always suspected. And two, there is no explanation for any of this information staying hidden for so long, other than an explicit bipartisan cover-up lasting 23 years. Let's start with the first and perhaps the craziest, a new video now released by CBS News 60 Minutes showing Saudi government agent Omar al-Bayoumi casing out the US Capitol in 1999 for al-Qaeda.
A voice on the video says in Arabic, "I am transmitting these scenes to you from the heart of the American capital, Washington." This video, unsealed in federal court this week and obtained by 60 Minutes, was recorded in the summer of 1999. The man behind the camera is Omar al-Bayoumi, who the FBI says was an operative of the Saudi intelligence service with close ties to two of the 9/11 hijackers.
Time is 6 p.m.
The video was filmed over several days. Bayoumi recorded entrances and exits of the Capitol, security posts, a model of the building, and nearby landmarks. In this portion of the video, Bayoumi points out the Washington Monument and says, "I will get over there and report to you in detail what is there." He also notes the airport is not far away.
For those not familiar, that is truly insane stuff because it proves definitively that the 9/11 Commission and the Bush administration completely lied. The official story from the 9/11 Commission and the Saudi government is that Omar al-Bayoumi was a tangential Saudi government-ish connected official. He just happened to live in Southern California before 9/11. According to them, Bayoumi happened to be in the same Los Angeles restaurant as two of the 9/11 hijackers. He overheard them speaking Arabic, and according to the official narrative, out of the goodness of his heart, he just gave them $1,500, arranged an apartment for them in San Diego, where he was also living across the street at the time, just because he was a good Muslim. At no time, according to him, did he know or suspect they were al-Qaeda, and he was simply, as I said, just a good guy helping others in need. FBI officials actually bought his story, and the Bush administration just waved it all away. The 9/11 Commission followed suit by classifying 28 pages of that commission report, which spelled out more of al-Bayoumi's Saudi government connections. That remained classified up until 2016. In the meantime, the American people were left only with the public declaration from the commission that said, quote, "We have found no evidence that the Saudi government as an institution or senior Saudi officials individually funded al-Qaeda." Remember, this was 2002. If you were a renegade who thought that the government was lying, you only had the nascent internet boards and your friends to talk about this. This was the cable news era and the heyday. They bought this story hook, line, and sinker. In the meantime, at the very same time, they're platforming Bush administration lies about how actually it's Saddam Hussein was responsible for 9/11. We got to lead to a war into false pretenses. By that point, the conversation is no longer about 9/11, it's about Iraq WMD. And we forgot very quickly. But the people who didn't forget are the families of the victims who died on 9/11, murdered in cold blood by al-Qaeda, who have long sought restitution from the Saudi government for its complicity, and who through sheer force of will have forced this information out into the open. You might be asking, hey, how did that video even stay secret this long? Of course, the answer is right in front of you. The FBI was in possession of this video via British intelligence just mere days after 9/11. It was then covered up and kept secret until today only because the victims of 9/11 family lawsuit ended up dredging it up. So just the latest bombshell revelation that they have given us in the span of a few months. You may have missed this, but there's even more to the story that definitively, again, proves the Saudi connection to 9/11. Just a month ago, the victims of 9/11 families revealed they have learned through their lawsuit that Omar al-Bayoumi and another Saudi official linked to 9/11 hijackers, quote, were not rogue operators, but rather the front end of a conspiracy that included the Saudi embassy in Washington and senior government officials in Riyadh. They confirmed that Bayoumi organized housing for the hijackers at the behest of the government and took care of their day-to-day needs, including introducing them to other terrorist officials. They also found a sketch seized from al-Bayoumi's apartment, quote, of a drawing of a plane alongside a calculation used to discern the distance at which a target on the ground would be visible from a certain altitude. So in other words, not only did he know about the plot, he actively helped the hijackers and himself appears to have been an al-Qaeda agent working for the Saudi government here on US soil. Imagine if any of this had been known in 2002, when the Bush administration was trying to take us into war. Now look, I'm happy it's out today for people like me to have their worst suspicions confirmed. But in a sense, it no longer matters. We already invaded Iraq. We already screwed up in Afghanistan. The worst has already happened. Trillions lost, millions killed, soldiers maimed, killed, all under false pretenses. So let this be a lesson that many questions about 9/11 remain unsolved, and that much of the official narrative is still a straight up lie. And it's still all of our duty to not forget that story after it was done both in our name and in the names of the victims, because there's still a lot left to uncover here. So, I mean, it's crazy stuff, right?
Hey guys, obviously I had a lot of thoughts on what Saagar had to say there. So if you want to see my thoughts on this monologue and every other Saagar monologue, make sure you subscribe at breakingpoints.com.